we go. Ready?
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Everyone alive, every creed and color, in kinship unite, in honor of God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. In the name of love.
Yay, good
All
morning.
right, good morning.
Welcome to the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living. I am not Reverend Mike McMorrow. What? I am Maureen Hoyt. I am the former minister of this center and emeritus for this center. I want to welcome you on the live stream this morning if you're here for the first time. And if you're listening to us for the first time, stay tuned. We are about to reopen in person sooner than later, and you'll be notified. If you are not on our mailing list, call the center's office and get on the mailing list. I want to thank the band for being here this morning. I want to thank our people on the sound team who are here this morning. And I want to welcome those in the center today, knowing that we do have an audience of 2. So it's kind of nice to have real faces here looking back at me. I want to acknowledge our Assistant Minister, Reverend Nancy Woods, for being in service this morning. And our call to service is called Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from that one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. As Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it is for the Tao. honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for all forms of the fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives and for the space that we hold for them at this center. And as Reverend Nancy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. And most especially, all those in Florida who are patiently waiting to hear about their loved ones in the building collapse.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
Presence of life, that we all are on this journey to grow and expand in awareness of. As I realize and understand that infinite intelligence that brought things forth into expression is that which we are here today to recognize in a greater, more expanded way, and to embrace the idea that it is the essence of our being, and that it is what has taken us into the direction that we are designed to go with the love, the harmony, and the joy of life. And as we open our hearts and our minds this morning, we open it to know that this hour is a blessing. It is an opportunity for us to understand and embrace the wonders of being who and what we are, and to gloriously step into our greater expression of life itself. And as I know that everything unfolds with ease and grace this morning, I know this hour flows with the music, with the message, with everything that is coming forth into expression. I know that this is done with a loving experience of appreciation and gratitude as we know together and embrace the idea together that the Spirit is guiding us. So with love, we embrace it by saying, and so it is, and so be it. Good morning.
Morning.
It is a pleasure to be here with Reverend Maureen. We've been on this journey together for a very long time. So, she certainly is good company on it. And to know that this morning is another opportunity for us to recognize the greatness of the universe. And I'm saying this because this month we're doing this soul thing about our souls. And one of the things that I have experienced in the last week is the wonder and the beauty of what it is to recognize it. But the underlying thing that really came out of it for me is a greater recognition that I am consciousness. I am that one divine presence consciousness in expression. And I am able to see that. And you know, the wonder that came to me with this is that when I looked at the trees and I looked at everything around me and realized that what was being around me was the result of my consciousness and experience and expression. And it comes from a place of knowing and understand that my experience of life is the result of the consciousness that I embody and embrace and open myself up to know and to express. And I realized that this consciousness, this understanding that spirit is in us, through us, and as us, opens us to such an infinite potentiality of being that it kind of encourages me to sit back and kind of just sit in that idea that how am I directing this consciousness of spirit? Because I really understand what Holmes was saying when he said there's a power in this universe and we can use it. We're using it because according to what I do with my consciousness, that's my utilization of the spirit itself. And I know and I understand and I embrace this idea that everybody, absolutely everybody, is this consciousness expression. And my journey on this life is not only to do it, to be it, and to express it, but to perceive it with all the other individualized expressions of it. And as I embrace myself more, I'm able to see it in the music and the wondrous things. And I have to share, I was listening to Ray Davis. I don't know, I think Ken knows him, he's a friend of his. He's a musician, and he sings a song called Average Man or something. He said, what if I'm greater than I think I am? What if I'm more than I think I can be? And you know what? I know that about all of us. We are greater than we are right now. We are greater. There's no end to where that greatness can go. And we are that greatness of the universe revealing itself. All of us are. And so in order to experience it, I ain't got to recognize my consciousness a little bit more because this is that power and that presence that Holmes told us that we can use. So open myself up to use it and to experience it and see the greatness. And as we sit in this experience this morning and we open our hearts and our minds, we're going to hear it through the message that is being given. We're going to hear it through the music that is being played. So you know what? Just reach for it. And when you reach for it, all it's going to do is make the people producing it come forth in a greater, more expanded way. So open your hearts, open your mind, and allow yourself to be blessed in this hour that we share together. And I thank you all for letting me share that.
Morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Looking forward to seeing everybody next week. And I'd like to thank Jason Goldstein on the keyboards today. All right.
Thank you.
And it is always a pleasure to have our next guest here. I've known him for a long time. How long is it?
15 years?
15 years.
Something
My
like that.
Lord. Well, that's wonderful. And it's great to have here Mr. John Silvers.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, and thank you for that beautiful morning message. I totally agree with everything you said, so thank you. And this song is in line with what you were sharing. It's called Falling Upward, and it's an original song. Do I have any guitar? Got it. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. I'm being lifted. I'm being gifted by the light. Something shifted, and now everything's alright. I'm no longer at the effect of circumstance. My faith is stronger, and my life is one big dance. Come on, dance. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. I'm celebrating. The anticipating's through. No more waiting. Now I give my life to you. Love's the only thing that we can bring that heals everything. So I'm opening my heart and letting Spirit do its thing. Yeah, all right. I know the law of gravity, but it does not apply to me. Within the Spirit I am free to fly as high as I can see. There's another law I know that keeps me in the overflow. It takes me where I wanna go. It's always yes and never no. Ha! No, never no. Never no. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. I'm falling upward. I know it sounds a bit absurd, but I'm falling upward. Oh yeah. It's so dramatic, the way that I have been set free from all the static that used to whirl inside of me. I am love, revealing universal positivity and expanding to the glory of my greatest yet to be. Falling upward. Said I'm falling upward. So cast away all doubt and fear. There's no direction left for you to steer. Your destination is very clear. Heaven is right now, and heaven is right here. Ha! Ha! Said I'm falling upward. I'm falling upward. Said I'm falling upward, yeah. Bring it down. I'm falling upward. Said I'm falling upward. That's right. I'm falling upward. Said I'm falling upward. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you very much.
That was nice. Nice. Is that on your CD?
Is it on my CD?
Yeah.
It can be. You need it to be.
Yes. I love that. I mean, the whole concept of it is, yeah, wow. It takes us through some of them things we go through to know we're falling up with. Yeah. Truly true. Yeah. So, it is now time for us to do our declaration of principles. So, join me as we realize that we believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe the universal spirit is personal too and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon the law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life, the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in eternal goodness, eternal loving kindness, and the giveness of life to all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth. And who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. Here we go. Is a blessing to the world. Is a blessing to the world. Is a blessing to the world.
Yay. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So, John Silvers, I've only ever seen you on live stream. Seeing you in person is a wonderful energy. Wonderful energy. And you should know there's a book out there called Falling Upward. Philip Simmons extended his life with ALS by 8 years writing that book, and it's a phenomenal, phenomenal book. Yeah. All right, thanks to Reverend Mike for giving me the opportunity to be here this morning. Rita, I'm so happy to see you and to know we have an audience of two. More than that, actually, two. Nancy's here, too. As I said, soon we'll be in service in live, alive. All of us alive, together, on a Sunday morning, and I can hardly wait for that to happen. So the title for the talk today is The Soul's Call to Freedom. And it was written, it is given to us through the organization. And this particular one was outlined by Reverend Karen Frost, who's at the Pasadena Center for Spiritual Living. I get to see those people in a couple of weeks. And it's a wonderful thing when you get information about what could be included in a talk. But as Reverend Mike and I have often discussed, we never let the talk title get in the way of what we have to say. So this morning is no less different than that. Last week I was catching up on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday. I had probably 11 or 12 of them that I hadn't watched, and so I kind of cherry-picked the two that I really wanted to pay attention to. And two of them, one was Father Richard Rohr, he's a Franciscan priest, and Joel Osteen. And both played into exactly what I wanted to say today. And I didn't think about it, but as Richard Rohr was talking, I was madly writing down notes, and then I realized I have them on my DVR, so I didn't have to write down the notes. I could listen and then kind of pick what I wanted to use out of it. But go figure. You know, Mike only asked me to do this on Thursday. He had someplace else to be this morning. So kind of let's start with Joel Osteen. He wrote a book in 2016 called The Power of I Am. And the subtitle is The 2 Words That Will Change Your Life. And the guarantee in this book is that it will transform our self-image and embrace the power of positive thinking with 2 simple words. Declare I am, he said, and celebrate the life God has created for us. So whatever follows, somebody else, are you, who's managing the PowerPoint this morning? Okay, good. Whatever follows the words I am will always come looking for us. Do you hear that? Whatever follows I am will always come looking for us. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? And I feel like Joel Osteen is a closet religious scientist. I feel like when I listen to him, even more and more today than in recent years, that he's been reading Ernest Holmes. He's been reading Emmett Fox. He's been reading Thomas Trord, because he comes up with this stuff, and then he writes a book about it. And at a certain point, as I was listening to him, I thought, I could be listening to Ernest Holmes. So he said this. Oh, I have to do it this way. He said, I am blessed, and blessings pursue us. When we make that affirmation, I am talented, talent follows us. When we make that affirmation, I am healthy, health heads our way. I am strong, strength tracks us down. And I think this is so interesting because whatever we put behind I am becomes our experience. Now that's the good news and the bad news. The good news and the bad news. My soul resonated with this. And after listening to him a few days ago, he was parroting word for word what Ernest Holmes said. Eckhart Tolle goes into great detail about this in his book, A New Earth. Making disparaging comments about ourselves nurtures the false self of who we are. And we want to remove negative comments about ourselves from our vocabulary. We do. You know, sometimes I have 2 little rugs in my kitchen and I trip over them. And I know they're there, but yet I still trip over them. And I found myself calling myself, I'm a klutz. Well, you know what? That's not the truth about me. What's true is I tripped over the rug. So I'm not going to make that declaration of truth about myself. So making positive affirmations about who and what we are nurtures the true self, the soul of who we are. That's this is the only job we have today, is to say wonderful things about ourselves behind our own backs, so that other people get used to doing the same thing for us. Our positive comments nurture the soul. And it's not as if the soul needs nurturing necessarily, because the soul is. Always has been, always will be. It's the consciousness that Nancy was talking about this morning. But false self might be identified as ego run riot, as we learn in the 12-step program. You know, ego is a good thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have dressed up to show up this morning. I wouldn't have wanted to look nice for all the people that are in the congregation today. That's my healthy ego that shows up. But that ego run riot, is not the true self. The true self might be defined as the soul or the essence of who and what we are. So what is the soul? Well, fast forward to Richard Rohr. As an aside, one of my best friends in the Canal Valley Interfaith Association was Father Joe Sherbo, who is also a Franciscan priest. And after getting to know Father Joe over the years, I discovered that he and Richard Rohr were seminary roommates all those years ago in the 60s. And also Father Joe and Richard Rohr both went to Berkeley. I went to Berkeley in the 60s. They finished and got their degrees. I did not, however. Richard Rohr defines the soul. Okay, come on. There you go. Richard Rohr defines the soul as the immortal self. The immortal self, which, by the way, supports Ernest Holmes' theory that each one of us has maybe up to 20,000 soul incarnations in us. It's immortal. And it's the 21 grams that is lost when a person who's on their deathbed gets weighed just before they die and then just after they die. And there's a 21 gram difference. And is it possible that that's the soul? There's a movie out about that from some years ago. I never made the connection until fairly recently. So the soul never dies. It's forever evolving, forever moving forward. And he adds, like I said, that we may have thousands of incarnations within us, which certainly supports the idea that when my kids asked me when they were little how I knew something, I couldn't say how I knew it. It was in the cellular memory. It was in the soul memory of who I am. And then come to find out that I was accurate, but maybe from some other soul incarnation. So really, what is the soul? It is the face of who we were before we were born. Now that sounds a little bit cryptic and a little bit abstract, but that's according to the Zen masters. It's the face of who we were before we were born. It is also our inherent dignity. And this is something we were born with, and it cannot be taken away. Our soul can never be damaged or in any way compromised. It is, period, the end. Father Rohr goes on to say that it's the struggle with the false self that reveals the true self. And Dr. Arthur Chang has said this over and over again. He's the pastor of Founders Church in Los Angeles. He said, in order for us to really evolve spiritually, we have to deal with a false self, because we're living life in the human experience. If it were just simply a spiritual experience, we would be blissed out all the time. and it would be like the 60s, except not on drugs. How we operate when no one else is looking is a revelation of the true self. It is the battle, excuse me, that we might have between good and bad. It is the battle between right and wrong. And yet, as Ernest says, even in the most difficult of circumstances, when we are challenged with doing the right thing, we always know the difference between right and wrong. And yet, haven't we all, in certain circumstances, gone with the wrong thing, even though we knew it was the wrong thing? And we have to go back and backstep a little bit. I watch that in politics on television all the time. We live in an imperfect world, and in an imperfect world. So when we strive for perfection, we're always going to be disappointed because that perfection is measured by somebody else's evaluation of what perfection is. The human condition or experience is rife with complicit agreement with the suffering in the world. That's kind of the sad part when you think about it. We are complicit. We may not think we're complicit, but that, to me, is what Black Lives Matter is all about. It's about what the Asian and Native American abuse is all about. Some of you may have heard what they've recently discovered in Canada. The bodies of hundreds of First Nations children that were killed while they were in the custody of the priests and nuns in orphanages. We have grown up believing in a competitive comparison world where I am better than you, smarter than you, richer than you. And we come to the science of mind and find out that there's no comparison in the mind of God. We are all one. And this concept doesn't compute. Hey, wait a minute. What about that person I don't like? Am I really supposed to love my neighbor as myself? How is that even possible? Next slide. This is not seeming to want to work very well. It is the struggle with the false self that reveals the true self. We've talked about that. Next one. The only reality I am sure of is that we are all works in progress. We are. You know, if we had achieved our purpose in this world, we'd be ready to transcend. And really it is, as Joseph Campbell said, it's not about finding our purpose in the world. It's about finding our potential and using that potential to its greatest degree. The false self is judgmental. The false self is angry. The false self gets hurt feelings. The false self plays head games with other people. The false self is limited to what he or she believes to be the truth about themselves. You know, that used to be the definition of consciousness. Whatever it is that we believe to be the truth about ourselves up to this point in time. But this is consciousness gone awry. So I know I don't want to feed the false self anymore. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? The false self, okay, I'll go for Evan doing the next slide because this doesn't seem to want to help me. The false self fears change more than anything. The false self is that ego that digs its heels in when we try to make change in our lives. And I've said this time and time again, most of us want to we want to be transformed, but we don't want to be inconvenienced. This is why we try to keep things the way they used to be. We talk about the good old days. Well, I got news for you. That's a point of conjecture, because when you talk about people about the good old days, for some of those people, it wasn't so good. This is why we stay in unloving relationships, because we want to keep things the way they are. We're afraid of change. We fear the unknown. This is why we go to work every day at jobs that aren't creatively satisfying or soul enhancing. So Richard Rohr says that joy is hard to hold on to. But I think what he really meant in listening to him is that happiness is hard to hold on to. Joy is intrinsic. If we go to that joy body within, as Eckhart Tolle talked about in the Power of Now, we will always have a true self-life experience. We always will. But he went on to say that joy is elusive, isn't it? But golly gee, give me a resentment or a judgment, and I can hang on to that for 3 weeks, or sometimes even 3 years. And I know I'm not the only one here, right? Is it just me, or has anyone out there released a resentment and cried over all the time we wasted holding on to it? That's one of the saddest things that I hear in my counseling sessions with people. We wake up one day after attending a forgiveness workshop, feeling a sense of relief so huge, we wonder why we waited so long to give up the resentment. Transform the suffering, and life takes on a whole new perspective. So transform the suffering. That means we have some work to do. The soul is just there waiting for us to transform the suffering. And so what is suffering? According to Richard Rohr, it's a feeling of loss of control. It can be something as small as sitting at a stoplight that is not changing, and we suffer because we started out too late for an appointment, and the stupid stoplight is making us even later. So we blame the stoplight. The other weekend, Father's Day weekend, we were with my kid's dad, my kids, and my granddaughter. And I thought to myself, as Bill was putting a fork full of food up to his mouth, the food fell down on his brand new clean shirt. What did he do? He swore at the fork. It was the fork's responsibility because he dropped the food on himself. And I just sat there looking at him. And my son from across the table goes like this, as if to say, Mom, don't even start. So putting it another way, my true self would never suffer, would never take on those stupid little things in life, like stoplights and forks, and tripping over a rug or a little mat in the kitchen. Never. Maureen says suffering occurs when there's an incoherence in our relationship to the true self. And I would say, she did it generically, but I would say that it's an incoherence in our relationship with God. I've spoken of this before, and the first sign of incoherence is frustration. When we feel frustrated, we have to stop right where we are and say, okay, how am I disconnected here? The second is resignation. Oh, well, this always happens to me. Any of you who watched What the Bleep Do We Know, you know they talked about this a lot. And the third one is cynicism. I don't ever want to get to cynicism. What a terrible place to be. All of a sudden we discover the science of mind, and we find out that all these things are actually controllable. But they're controllable through me, by me, and as me. We find our tribe in the science of mind. We find teachers who show us how to think and how to perpetuate positive thinking through affirmations. We step into a new way of being. We surround ourselves with people who are steeped in principle and willing to love us enough to call us out in our moments of weakness. Nancy's one of my treasured calling out persons in my weakness. And I know that she does that for Reverend Mike too. As we discover a new way of being, focusing on the true self, We are not going to step into the light and find ourselves alone. Get this. We are not going to step into the light and find ourselves alone. All the people we love and admire will be there to welcome us. While we might have been isolated from our tribe for the last year and a half, Reverend Mike, Reverend Nancy, and Reverend Kathy have sustained a sense of community for us by being here in person every Sunday morning. We feel connected. We are disconnected in a way, unconnected. Let's just put it that way. Going back to Joel Osteen and borrowing his words, the guarantee with his teaching is that we are guaranteed transformation of our self-image by practicing the principles taught by Ernest Holmes. And we declare I am and celebrate the life God has created for us. The human experience, after all, is about soul growth, totally about soul growth. And the shifting of one's consciousness to the realization, as Nancy so adeptly said this morning already, there is a power for good in the universe available to everyone, and we can use it. There is a power for good in the universe available to everyone, and we can use it. It's not just available to Nancy or to Rita or to Ken. It's available to all of us, all of us. And when we finally realize that we use this power and our true self just begins to blossom in a way that we never expected, and life takes on an energy of hope, and it's sustainable on a daily basis. We don't have to think about it. Yes, I do meditate every day. Yes, I do pray every day. But that's to keep me in tune with the infinite. Life was not meant to be a struggle. And if anyone out there is currently struggling, you can join me on Tuesdays starting July 20th from 6:30 to 8:30 for an 8-week course and a wonderful, wonderful new class with a potpourri of familiar wisdom to move us into a new year of demonstrating the life that we've dreamed of. It will also be on Zoom, but the Zoom is limited to 20 people and the in-person class is limited to 20 people. So you can join us either way. Let's bring the musicians back up. If you decide to join this class, you are not going to step into the light and find yourselves alone. All the people you love and admire will be there to welcome you. So just keep that in mind. The freedom from suffering comes with change. And when it's changed for the better, we blossom and everyone around us does too. Let's step into the light together, knowing that with God, all things are possible. Will you join me in consciousness, please? And know the power and presence of Spirit right here, right now, is bringing forth a new idea called me. As I speak this truth in the first person, the I am becomes a statement of truth about who I am. I am God, uniquely and wonderfully individualized. And there is that precious moment of recognition of the true self that emboldens each and every one of us to explore the possibility that we are here to be, do, and have everything that we desire. We are here to know that our soul growth is not painful, is not suffering, but is bridged from a place on high. That consciousness prevails in all things, and that consciousness is the true self. As we embrace the idea that it is an inherent idea longing to express in the world, in the human experience, we become more and more of the divine in expression as we move through each and every day. And so today, I know for all of us, those close and those far away, that who we are is so wonderful, that we dare to be great, as Nancy said. We dare to know that God has brought forth our consciousness and birthed this person called me to be the best me that I can be. And so with God in the mix, all is well, as we joyfully receive and give thanks. I release my word to the activity of the law for all within hearing distance, knowing that God is good, and so it is.
This is another original song called Grace. One, two, three. What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? Will you bring love? Will you bring war? What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? What did you learn the time before? And what are you here to re-explore? What are you on this planet for? Oh, did you bring us love? Oh, there's never too much love. Spirit is calling you to uplift the human race. So begin with a smile upon your face and fill the world with grace. What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? Will you bring love? Will you bring war? What are you on this planet for? Bring it down. You can let your spirit soar. Will you let your spirit soar? Open up that sacred door and dance upon the sunlit shore. Will you let your spirit soar? Oh, did you bring us love? Oh, there's never too much love. Spirit is calling you to uplift the human race. So begin with a smile upon your face. Fill the world with grace. You can fill the world with grace. Come on, fill the world with grace. What are you on this planet for? What are you on this planet for? What did you learn the time before? What are you here to re-explore? What are you on this planet for? Planet for, planet for. Thank you.
So this is our time of conscious giving. And for those of you on the live stream, gosh, I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what to say here. But I know that there are donate buttons on the website and probably on what you're watching right now. So avail yourselves of those. I happen to have a check with me today. I know a couple of you have done that already. I just want you to know that I am privy to the financials of the Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, and I am just so charged with such wonderful energy around the way this congregation has supported this church financially through this pandemic. And I think it's no mystery. It's because Reverend Mike shows up here every Sunday morning, along with Reverend Nancy and Reverend Kathy and a couple of other people to share the sanctuary with you online. And this is one of the ways in which it makes us feel connected in a way, wonderfully connected. So I wish to bless the offerings that have come in this week through the donate button, through PayPal, through Venmo, through, what's the other one on Chase, Zelly, whatever means, whether you send a check or however you do it, it's no less received in graciousness and in love. And we bless each and every person that contributes to the ongoing financial stability of this center. It's a greater and greater idea in the mind of God, and we are onward and upward in our presentation here this morning. So I bless the offering, knowing that it goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless, and multiply abundantly. And so it is.
3, 4. Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives through you, Spirit receives through you, Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit gives through us. Spirit receives through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us. Yeah.
We do the close. Yeah. All right. I was going to give it over to Nancy, but I feel compelled. Get a hold of myself here this morning. Thank you for being here this morning with us on live stream. Thank you for those who are here in person and in service to the center. The music was phenomenal today. Thank you, John. I loved being in your energy field here, up here. It was just beautiful. So join me in consciousness, please, and know that as we move in whatever direction we go, east, west, north, south, to our next appointed space in time. We do so in safety and good order. We do so knowing that we have been enriched in some way, somehow, through the words that have been spoken this morning by Reverend Nancy, the words that have been sung by John and Ken and Jason, and the work that has been done by means of those in service to the center today. And so I know that I am enriched. I am enriched because I know that transformation is taking place, that whatever needs to show up to shine a conscious light upon it is being done in order for us to be able to change behaviors, to be able to change the way we think, to be able to adjust our belief system to a more expanded idea. And that idea is love. That idea is, how do I conduct my life that my efforts end up on the credit column of the planet's ledgers? That's all we need to know today. And so from this place in consciousness, I joyfully receive and give thanks, knowing that God is in the mix as always, and all is well, as we say together, and so it is.
Please join us in singing the peace song at home. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as the power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow.